Talking back and forth about this move afoot, among some, just a couple really, to look at getting rid of the speaker. The Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden sits on the House Transportation Infrastructure Committee. He's a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, so you do not mess with this fellow. Congressman, very good to have you, and thank you for taking the time.
Well, I appreciate that. I am on T, and I am also on Ag and VA. Two very, very important, and I would say nearly completely bipartisan committees.
Okay, well, there's a concept that we don't hear often a lot about. Let me ask you, though, Congressman, on this distraction, I call it distraction, maybe it's just limited to a couple of your colleagues, but for the speaker, and they're losing patience with him. They might call a vote on getting him out of there. They might not. They don't like the way he's crafted these deals, aid packages, working with Democrats, all of that verboten in their eyes. How do you feel about it?
Here's how I feel about it, Neil. Nobody, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, can say that vacating Kevin McCarthy's speakership turned out better for the country. You just can't. And as members of Congress, we're supposed to be a deliberative body, and we have to have a memory longer than a gnat. So we need to put this aside. Speaker Johnson cannot help govern with the sword of Damocles hanging over his head. So I talked to some of these guys yesterday, Matt Gaetz and Chip Roy and those cats, and I said, hey, look, man, stop blackmailing the majority of the majority. Stop holding these things over the speaker's head and my head. Stop voting against these rules, because when you vote against a rule, I don't get a chance to vote for or against a bill which is effectively disenfranchising 750,000 Wisconsinites and the rest of the American public. So I respect Chip Roy's constituents. I respect Matt Gaetz's constituents, and I expect them to return that favor to me and respect my people in Wisconsin.
So I take it you don't think this will go far. I know all it takes is one, and all it takes is just going that extra step to say I want to do this. Neither are at that stage. The two who are considering it. Do you think they will be?
Well, Neil, I'm not sure which member from the Freedom Caucus, and it's not all of them,
right.
But I don't know which Chip Roy we're getting on Monday versus Tuesday, or Marjorie on Monday versus Tuesday. I don't know how to negotiate with these folks because they change their positions so often. And so what I've chosen to do is to do me. I'm focusing very hard. We are reading these policies in detail, and if they make sense for my constituents, the American people, and the world writ large in that order, then I'm going to vote for them. And if they don't, I won't. And if we did, the folks around here knocked off a little bit of this high school drama and pretending like they're in a reality television show and realized that we are a deliberative body that's responsible for governing, if more people did that, we would be better off as a people.
I was mentioning, a lot of people know this already, you're a former U.S. Navy SEAL, but not former, once a SEAL, correct. You're always a SEAL, I get that and respect that. Your reaction to what Israel pulled off, some people said something that is not going to incite a reaction or a counterstrike on the part of the Iranians, hence this kind of weird market reaction that they can deal with that, but the markets aren't always the game here. It could be fears that they're just lying low. What do you think happens?
Well, when the Iranian proxies, Hamas, attacked Israel, Israel is in the process of destroying Hamas. And they did not attack Iran, even though we know that Iran was responsible for funding these folks. Now that Iran, for the first time in history, directly attacked Israel, it's completely appropriate for Israel to attack Iran. And what people should note is where those missiles went. So it was in the same province as the Natanz nuclear facility, and it's also where they produce medium-range missiles and UAVs, drones, you'd call them. And so that message, hopefully, has been delivered to the mullahs in Iran that, yeah, a missile landed down the block from where you're producing these weapons, but it could also land directly on the factory where you're producing these weapons. And we don't have a significant amount of BDA, the battle damage assessment, from the actual strikes themselves.
Right.
But I sure hope that Iran knocks it off, pulls their proxies back, because the Jewish people, they don't just have the right to defend themselves, they have the right to live in peace.
That's well put, Congressman. And what you said about a reminder to the Iranians what Israel did and what it was shown it was capable of doing with this attack might again, put them at bay. We'll watch closely. Congressman, very good seeing you. Have a good weekend.